So in this video, I'm going to talk about dating in Ecuador as an expat. And so I'm just going to quickly hit these points and also look at a map and a couple pictures, etc. So I had a better success rate overall than in many of these other countries that I've lived in Latin America and the Caribbean. For example, better than Brazil, better than Colombia, better than the Dominican Republic. It's hard to say. Maybe 10% to 15%. It's difficult to really say, but it's noticeable. It's noticeable. Both in the number of matches and the quality of the chicks that were interested. And one in particular, well, let me take a step back here. I am in Guayaquil, Ecuador. Okay. And I can't say about Quito, I can't say about Cuenca, but I can talk about Guayaquil. I've been here for 50 days and I'm leaving in about 8 days. Now, long story short, on why are you leaving? Why would you go? You're a remote worker. You could stay. And I'm going to tell you, I hate the weather. It is cloudy, 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 and then a little bit more cloudy. I mean, every single day. I've mentioned it before. Let put it this way: in the last 51 or 52 days, there have been a grand total of about 4 days that are. I'm going to do a different video about it. I'm not going to go into that here. So Guayaquil is where I am. Okay. And so yeah, the using the apps. I used both Tinder and I used Latin American Cupid, and quite frankly, I met one in particular who was really good. I mean, I would have to say she's the best girl I've met in South America so far. Excluding when I was 31 and 32 living in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, which is a long time ago, right? It's a good over 20 years ago, right? But this girl, now I can't take her with me. I mean, I suppose I could, but it's too much. It's too much. I talked to her about it, thought about it, back and forth about it. But I would need to get back to Colombia, the coast where it's sunny. I need to get back to a sunny place. And she's got a pretty good job here. And she has a child, a 12-year-old boy. She's 35. But she was the best one that I've met. So that is one observation I want to make right off the bat. And that is that the quality of the chicks that that have responded to me in Ecuador is slightly better than Colombia and noticeably better than in Brazil. And she's just all around hot. I mean, by my standards, she wasn't a 10 or anything like that, but I was very kind of, wow, this is a very good deal. But at any rate, so, but I love sun. I absolutely adore it. So anyways, all right, can't stay. When did that? Okay, are the chicks in Ecuador curvy? My friend said, oh, they don't. They're not. They don't have the traditional curvy Latina figures, the whole deal. And I said, well, no, you're wrong. In Guayaquil, at least in Guayaquil, they do. And so I can tell you that much. I don't know about Cuenca. I don't know about Quito, but I can say that in Guayaquil, they absolutely are curvy ladies. the way you see in Brazil and the way you see in Colombia. Now, this is down along the coast. Maybe it's just similar to in, Colombia, similar to the coast in Colombia versus, Barranquilla, Cartagena compared to Bogota, right? The women in Medellin and Bogota are different, and maybe the girls in Quito and Cuenca are different than the girls on the coast. I don't know. I'm just down here on the coast. So, now traditional. I notice these Ecuadorian women's are a little bit more traditional than some of their Colombian, just slightly. I mean, on the margins, right? On the margins. They're very similar to Colombians, women, but I would say they're a little nicer. They're a little more innocent. They're a little less conniving than Colombian women. On Brazil, it's pretty close. Brazil also, and I was very impressed with the people here. It's the stupid weather I hate. This is Ecuador, the always cloudy country. I can't stand how cloudy it is almost always. At any rate, I do find that the women here are kind of more traditional, and they're a little more. They don't press you for money at all here. That's a good one. I should probably put that on the list. I should probably just put that as a separate one, They don't push you to hand over cash the way they do in Colombia or in the DR. They don't do it as much. So I think if you were only coming down to Latin America to live for a while, with the purpose of getting a wife, I would say Ecuador might be okay. And assuming also that you don't really worship the sun the way I do. There are a lot of people online that complain about the weather in Ecuador. It's always hot. I do like that, at least down here on the coast. Anyways, getting back to my topic, they're slightly more traditional. There's a lot of Bible memes, you meet these girls here in Latin America, and a lot of times on WhatsApp, you'll see their updates will contain all sorts of funny sayings, not funny sayings, daily, go with God just with your left hand or the right, and everything will turn out perfect, this sort of deal. And make no mistake, I have the utmost respect for the Bible and consider myself a Christian, although I'm non-denominational. In some ways, well, at any rate, so that's that. And what else is on the list? Oh yeah, fewer prostitutes, right? Fewer prostitutes in Ecuador, at least on the apps. I will say that, it's in Colombia, especially Colombia, but also Brazil too. But in Colombia, it's worse. I swear to God, in Colombia, there are a lot of prostitutes on Bumble, on Tinder and Badoo. I mean, every other one seems like a prostitute. I'm sorry, it's true. There are a lot of whores running around trying to do their thing, but there are fewer in Ecuador. I don't think I ran into even one on Tinder. Maybe I did. I'm trying to think. I can't recall exactly, but I'm going to be going back to Colombia, Barranquilla, very soon. I didn't come here, by the way, to stay for a long time. I just thought, well, I don't want to spend the money to go back to Brazil. I needed to go back to the US. And I had 2 months before I could go back to Colombia because my time in Colombia had expired, 6-month visa. So I had to leave. And so I was waiting for that time to go by. And I didn't want to fly all the way back to Brazil. It's more expensive, takes longer. I hate those double long, super long flights and stuff like that. I thought, well, let's just bump over to, you know, Ecuador and check it out. I've never been there. Let's see what's going on. I didn't know what the weather was like really. The online data websites don't tell the proper story. They don't give the right picture. They really do not. They try to say that, and I'm not going to go into that in this video. I'm going to make another short video on that very issue. But at any rate, so that's the reason I'm back here, and I just did not run into any prostitutes on the apps the way you do in Colombia. If you have been to Colombia and you've used those apps and websites, you'll know, wow, it's no good. It's very distracting. Yeah, and some of them lie about their status, and it's a pleasure to call those women whores. Because they are the ones, especially the ones who lie about whether they're truly a whore or not, and yeah, come meet me, and they don't. I mean, it's just no good. So, all in all, I think that you will do very well if you choose Ecuador, not for the weather, but just for trying to find a good girl. And I find that they're very attractive here as well. Yeah, okay. Have a good one, you guys.